Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson, O'Reilly Media from the 2011 Velocity Conference floor. I'm here with Dave Karow from Keynote. Dave, is this your first Velocity? And if it is or isn't, explain a little bit about how you're enjoying it or not.
Yeah, so it's my third Velocity, actually. Been every year, or not the very, very first, but just keeps growing. A lot of energy. A lot of people are really excited to get the information. I think I've learned some of my deeper secrets about browsers here in the last couple of years. This year I've really been more focused on some of the cool stuff going on around mobile. Everyone seems to be talking about mobile quite a bit. But a lot of energy, a lot of great people here.
Do you see the same theme of the tribes kind of coming together this year and the barrier between web dev and web ops kind of going away?
That's funny. That's actually a topic that keeps coming up, the whole DevOps. I had someone refer to DevOps sort of in quotes, and I think we're personally interested in it because we like the whole idea of the continuous integration and the notion that you would start testing early and often, and that there's no big surprises. I had a great conversation with somebody yesterday about, hey, what if I could just script my tests early on, and then when I produce my code, push them up to my monitoring, so it'll all be sort of one continuous process. Were you asking whether there's like a separation, or
are they coming together? Are the tribes coming together?
I don't know if I know enough data points to predict that at this point.
Okay. So one data point that I think is kind of obvious to everyone is that mobile is increasingly bigger and bigger and bigger. And you guys had a keynote yesterday, a talk about keynotes, and there was a lot of excitement in the air over your product. Can you explain a little bit, like a quick explanation of what it was?
Yeah, so Keynote has had real browsers monitoring the web for quite a long time. We were really the first one to do that. And what this is our real mobile devices. So you're actually talking about a real iPhone, a real Android device, a real iPad, whatever it is, that's tethered to a chassis. We've reverse engineered our way into it. And at that point, you can actually interactively work with it, but more importantly, you can automate. And so you're running against that from locations out there in the real world. We're not talking just in a lab, but we're actually talking about running from different geographies on different carriers. And as you saw in the demo, the power of the scripting, the ability to script very detailed things and do gestures, pinches, and just, not just brute force sending commands, but actually interacting like a human would, is built in. And we have some kind of deep intellectual property on how that whole infrastructure works. And we're kind of a little picky. Keynote's real particular about accuracy and detail, so we integrate deeply. We don't just jack into a USB port. We're actually hardwired into the various components of the phones, which requires some reverse engineering, but it gives you a much richer ability to control a device.
And so it wasn't just iOS and Android, but it was a bunch of devices and a bunch of carriers as well.
That's correct. Right. So you hear a lot of times people say, oh, no, we're covered. We've got Android and we've got iPhone. And you hear that one over and over again. And you'd be right if you're talking about the size of those slices in the pie. But the reality is, especially in different geographies, those aren't the only show that's out there. And so we're pretty much driven by what our customers need. So we have some sort of proprietary specific focus where somebody says, hey, I care about these particular devices. They're my devices. So can you do these 8 different devices? And we say yes. And we can actually do private agents for those people where that's a dedicated box for them. But we also have sort of what are the hot items, hot objects, or hot platforms in different geographies. And then those are literally sitting in Paris or in London, New York, available to use for ongoing monitoring.
And also, if I recall, it was both GSM and CDMA, or?
Oh, yeah. So definitely, it's because of the way we interact with these phones, we're not tied to a particular carrier or a particular technology. So because we're reverse engineering into the actual hardware itself, we're not dependent on knowing what that radio is. We're not emulating these devices. In this case, we're actually running that actual device. So if it's a T-Mobile device, it's a T-Mobile device. If it's running GSM or CDMA, it's not going to matter to us. As long as we've chosen to integrate with that device, we're up and it's a different platform.
Excellent. So are you guys going to be here next year, and are you looking forward to next year? And
yeah. So when you refer to the keynote, I was wondering if we could call that Keynote Squared. Keynote. There will be probably Keynote next year because Keynote has obviously long been a big supporter of this event. We're the premium Diamond sponsor, and we really enjoy talking to everybody. I'm amazed at how many people will come to the show and they actually don't yet know what we do. We've been around for 15 years, but if you aren't in web ops and you're not specifically monitoring performance, you might not know about us. And that's a really cool progression that's happening because more and more people are understanding how we could be applicable to the QA side. On the mobile side, we're doing a lot of work on the QA side, and and how to use this for load testing. Only the really, really big companies know we do load testing typically, and we actually have quite a vigorous load testing business. So it's a great way to kind of mix and mingle and get people to know what's going on. And we also see our partners here, so we get a chance to hang out with the Dynatrace guys or the ExtraHop guys and kind of share notes, go deeper with some of our integrations.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys next year and hearing what you have to offer next year.
No worries.